Hello everyone, my name is TheMadScorpyon and welcome back to another reset update. Before we get into the reset itself, I just want to let you all know what to expect. Of course, the season finale was today. I have done everything so far. If you've been noticing my prismatic element guides, there is 2 currently out. There is 1 more that's already scheduled, but the next 2 might be a little bit delayed. I was planning on having them out Thursday and Friday, but the Destiny 2 team actually has some info in the last 2 tweets that I've been putting out, basically saying that the armor update article that they were planning got so large they are splitting it up. Now, the abilities tuning preview will cover updates to all of the light and darkness subclasses in the final shape and will release Wednesday. The exotic armor tuning will come out Thursday, and This Week in Destiny will follow at its regular time. So, yes, that means I will have another article out tomorrow with the solar parts, and then Thursday will be 2 videos on their own, and depending on how much gas I have in the tank, I might actually cover Stasis and Strand, either at a later date or following the week. I might just do it during the weekend. However, with that, getting into the Destiny 2 reset itself, on the front page is, of course, a lot going on. Like I mentioned, the season finale has, of course, happened, and there is a slight update with some fixes, just to let you know. For Crucible, they fixed issue where players can get into several unintended locations on Eventide, Dissonance, and Cirrus Plaza. They also fixed an issue where a heavy ammo crate would spawn inside the wall for certain modes on Dissonance. For gameplay and investment, they fixed the issue where 0-hour solo Flawless Triumph was not being granted on normal difficulty, so you can do that on normal as well. They also reduced the required triumphs for Brave by 1, so a lot of you who were waiting for the 1 enemy at the end of Wave 50 Onslaught, yeah, you can do everything else and not do that. Your Brave titles will, of course, be finished. Aside from that, in the week, there is currently going to be a double rep trials weekend going on. So go ahead and get into that. And speaking of trials, allegedly it is talking about the last chance for Igneous Hammer Adept. Now, this might just be for this season because, of course, it will have to rotate back around next season. It does just say last chance for the Igneous Hammer. It does say, of course, the normal version is there. I don't know if this means last chance until it rotates out, and you can only have the basic version, but keep in mind that this will at least be the last chance for this season's of that. As well, moving into Pantheon, of course, there is another level of Nezarec Sublime that, of course, came out, and allegedly, I think Riven was added to the description as well. And from what I've been seeing, they actually tuned her so that the cheese strat does not work. You are definitely indeed going to need to do Riven the legit way, so keep in mind for that. From that point as well, speaking of Brave, going back around to it into the light, there is increased drop rates on weapons and trophies of bravery just broadly. So if you are looking to grind out the last 2 weeks and finish up, you have access to better options. So hopefully you can get the shiny versions of all the weapons you're hunting, as well as all the trophies of bravery to unlock all the chests before final shape comes. From that point, of course, there is a usual emblem that you can unlock through streaming. If you watch certain streamers, it comes available to earn at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard. If you want to get into everything else, though, for the strikes, the Nightfall this week is Birthplace of the Vile, which straight up, its GM is not that hard. It does have a bit of walking to do. The boss is probably the hardest part just because it is a Void Burn with a Void Sniper enemy, and of course, it is one of the wraiths that like to move around the battlefield. The weapon available is the Undercurrent Arc Waveframe Grenade Launcher, which does have a leg up on Forbearance because it can be adept, unlike the Master version of Forbearance, but at the same time, you know, it's not Forbearance, so I doubt that many people would want it. In terms of Crucible, we have Mayhem in addition to the new territory playlists active, but aside from that, it just seems to be normal Crucible as always. For our main rotators, the weekly exotic mission is Prestige, which means you can get anything from the Old Menagerie, Reprise, and Season of the Haunted in red borders if you're still hunting them. Vow of the Disciple is the weekly featured raid, which of course means that anything from Vow of the Disciple can be farmed infinitely, including the exotic if you are searching for it, as well as Master Mode has once again returned if you wish to get the Adept loot or just want to get some triumphs done. From there, Prophecy is our farming dungeon, which if you did not have a chance to farm it out last time for its new roles, this is a perfect week to go at it, just because Prophecy is still incredibly farmable. On the topic of current stuff, the Crota's End Raid Challenge is one for all, and of course there is always Master Mode to look forward to if you want to get the Adepts from it. But going from start to bottom for raid challenges, we do have Illuminated Torment for Root of Nightmares, the first encounter. King's Fall is Gaze of Mage, which is Golgoroth. Once again, Vow of the Disciple is all challenges active because it is the featured raid. Vault of Glass is the Strangers in Time challenge, which is Gatekeeper's challenge. Deepstone Crypt is Red Rover, which is First Encounter challenge in security. Garden of Salvation is the Link to the Chain, which officially I forget where that is. And then Last Wish is Forever Fight, which that one is also one I forget to keep track of. From there, we also have the Legend Dares of Eternity, which is Cabal, Taken, and Crota for that note. Now, of course, as always, there is the Eververse to look forward to. Now, I will let you all know, as usual, the stock is ending and rotating at the end of the season in a weird way, so just go ahead and keep an eye out for everything in the store. Like I said, stuff that is in the current seasonal offerings, this will rotate out. It won't be readily purchasable for silver like it is until the season after, or the episode after, when it enters the archive. So just keeping track of that. If there's anything you want to clear out, whether it's Into the Light, the N7 stuff, the Witcher set, most of this will likely revert to the archive later, but will be unavailable to straight up buy for some time. Getting into the main page, we do have a few shaders. Transcendent Ambition from Season of the Seraph, which is one of those ones that makes you look like you're trying to be on fire while also being made of gold. It's an interesting look, nonetheless. We also have Amethyst Bloom, which is one of those ones that is slightly live, if I recall. It is very Dreaming City, very Awoken, but, you know, it's certainly a shader if you want to be theme-like. Then you also have the Powerful Statement Weapon Ornament for the Loaded Question, which is back from when it came around its initial time. Just straight up Vanguard look, although I do think Adept Loaded Question does just straight up look better than that ornament. You also have the Rocket Stomp emote, which is self-explanatory. You do one of those little stomps, rocket, fireworks, and from that point I think it keeps going until you... Actually, no, it ends naturally and actually has a relatively natural ending. For our flares, we have Metropolitan Acoustics, which is one of those clean looks that I would always recommend for weapons if you just want an interesting color scheme. It looks good on armor, but at the same time, it kind of makes it look like toy armor for some reason anytime you put it on. We also have Vibrant Medusa, which almost similarly so. Nice color scheme, looks good on weapons, but the armor, once again, it looks nifty enough, but then it kind of gives it a weird toy soldier's look. Then we have Empirical Imperative, which is from Season of the Chosen, which is basically the Warmind's Chosen set. Gives you a nice carbon fiber look, a bit of yellow. Oddly enough, with a lot of the Rasputin-based stuff, it has a good general color, but then there, oddly enough, is one that stands out and just kind of doesn't match everything else and makes it look a little bit weird. In this case, the bright yellow. From there, we also have Spark of Joy, which is new to this season, which, if you can't tell, it is quite joyous and very... looking like it belongs on a girl's cartoon in the early 2000s. From that point on, though, we also have the Past Unearthed, which is a transmat from Black Armory, which I believe is supposed to be partially Vault of Glass and Vex. Then we also have the Cabal Shieldbreaker from the Season of the Dawn, which is basically you just popping out of Cabal effects. And of course, Catch Flight from Season of the Hunt, which is you spawning out of a Fallen Catch. Then into our big ticket items. More cowbell. If you wanted to know where that emote came from or the Saturday Night Live reference, go ahead and pick that up. And we also have the chest armor for the classes. So if you were looking at the armor from Season of the Forge or Black Armory and you wanted the Eververse, it is chest armor on the other two characters. I did check the Warlock beforehand, and it is the chest armor for there. If it's different on Hunter, apologies. I just imagine they are the same for all the classes. But like I said, it's available for Bright Dust, and once it leaves the store, you will not be able to get it anyway but silver. So go ahead and pick it up while you can. Speaking of which, we also have the Simulation Shell, which makes your ghost look like a little simulation seed from Mercury back when it was available. And we also have the Exosporangian, which is supposed to be just the Glycon. I forget what this is. I forget what this goop is called specifically, but the Glycon Moss Darkness stuff. Go ahead. It's basically just a D1 ship infested by the Glycon goop, I'm just gonna say. We also have the Omen of Saturn, which is the Telesto Sparrow from the old Telesto set with a special, unique Sparrow drive in the background for its trail, and otherwise cool look nonetheless. You also have Augmented Apotheosis, which is Divinity meets Season of the Splicer, throwback from Season 14 if you wanted to spice up Divinity's look and just kind of sleek it down, or represent your favorite Fallen Mithrax. And lastly, we have the Time Lost Projection, which is just a... Actually, that's a nifty looking one, which is supposed to be, I guess, the Tree of Silver Wings and the Traveler. Doesn't look half bad, but then again, it is just the usual ghost projection that is otherwise pointless. Now, keeping in with the flare, I'm going to go ahead and visit Ada, but please, if anyone is watching up to this point, actually let me know. Do you care at all about either Banshee or Ada's available weapons? Because it doesn't seem like the most useful things. I'll keep track of it just because for this last one. Otherwise, I will likely be shedding it from this video. For the shaders at Ada, we have House of Myron, which is a red and gold, not too akin from New Monarchy back in the day. Solid enough look, but it doesn't come with a lot of shiny. It's just kind of red and gold. Then we also have New Pacific Sync, which is along the lines of Old Titan back in the day, if you wanted to look a little bit water-like and just keep that look. Then we also have the Devil Order Camo, which as usual is a black and white, but this time it actually comes with a little camouflage pattern if you want to look a little bit more tactical and night stealthy. Visiting Banshee, we have a lot of returning characters in the Whispering Slab, a lightweight bow, seen many times as stated, just quite outdated. Wish it was better. It is nifty, but only really for the Crucible at this point. Cartesian Coordinate, one of the best damage fusion rifles in the game, if you can get the proper roll on it. If you have Vorpal, good. If you have something like auto-loading, better, but however, this one is missing the other parts, so I would recommend otherwise. You also have True Prophecy, a really good aggressive frame kinetic hand cannon with a very nifty set of stat buff rolls, but at the same time, it can get rangefinder, things like timed or explosive payload, so I might just recommend that for the Crucible crowd. And speaking of Crucible, we also have Legal Action, a high impact frame pulse, which may not have access to things like Desperado, but with a surplus and rampage roll, it is very clean feeling and very good damage. Then we also have Palmyra B, which is a rocket that can be crafted, but once again, as always, I would recommend getting this if you have no other options. If you have literally anything else, I would take it. From that point, that is the end of the reset update. Now, like I said at the start of the video, I'm going to do my best to actually keep the timeline on brand. Again, there is going to be 3 videos coming out because of Bungie and their articles kind of cascading off each other in the next 2 days. I shall hopefully have my guides at least out by the end of the weekend, but otherwise, I hope you enjoy. My name is TheMadScorpyon. I will see you in the next video.